So this will be about the importance of feeling happy, accepting how things are, just the way they are. More often than not in life, when we face bad times or even good times, we're not entirely accepting of that fact within our own consciousness. This regularly shows itself in a way that many people could relate to if they're honest, I think. A simple observation can confirm this easily is that when something good happens, when we have reason to celebrate, or when something bad happens and we have reason to be upset, there's a tendency for the mind to want to run away from it, as strange as it may seem, especially when it comes down to good things. When something good happens, why would you want to run away from it? But yet that's exactly what most people unconsciously do. The running away could potentially happen through using a certain substance like alcohol, maybe other drugs. It could be through other activities entirely. We celebrate, of course. When something good happens, we want to celebrate it. There's nothing wrong with it in and of itself. When something bad happens, the tendency still exists for us to want to walk away from it, to escape it, to numb our minds from the thing that is upsetting us. But yet here we're talking about accepting circumstances the way they are. Because it is in accepting circumstances just the way they are that we learn to develop a balance within ourselves that will allow us to actually expand and grow in an even greater direction. So this is why it's important to feel happy, to discover what happiness is, to find where it is, because obviously it is within ourselves. It is experienced within ourselves, and we're going to have to connect with it within ourselves by becoming aware of it, that it is always present within ourselves. Happiness, love, joy, peace, bliss, well-being, it all exists within ourselves. But we can only find it if we stop being occupied with resisting the way things are. If we stop being occupied so much with how things are, we learn to use our awareness, our consciousness in a better way, at least if we're smart. Because we're not talking about ignoring reality just because we have to ignore it. We're talking about learning to become more in tune with who we are in the depths of our own being, which is joy, peace, happiness, love, and bliss, well-being. That is your essential nature. But it's buried underneath all the limiting beliefs and perceptions that you have about yourself currently as a person in this world. If we learn to say yes to circumstances as they are, and we learn to actually accept them for what they are, even if we don't particularly like them, we're actually creating space for happiness to develop within ourselves, for happiness to come to the surface. Because the happiness shouldn't be dependent on how things are. And yet for most people that is how it goes. They are happy in response to stuff happening. But if the happiness can come to the surface because it already resides within us, then we'll truly be happy. Then life becomes joy. Then life becomes bliss, an experience of well-being. But where we trick ourselves is that we let our minds be more occupied with judging, with wanting to fight our own circumstances because we're not happy about them. You see what's happening here? It's so subtle, but it's the consciousness being pulled away from its own essence. Your essence is rooted in what we could say God. Your essence is rooted in the spirit of the universe. In order to know your own essence, you're going to have to become aware of it. And this awareness comes about through self-contemplation. It is something I've discovered for myself, is that I can sit wherever I am. I can walk wherever I am in the world. And I can have a particular inner calmness and peace that is not disturbed by anything that I'm physically observing around myself. The reason why it's no longer disturbed by outside circumstances is because I have stabilized myself, so to speak, into that inner sanctuary of awareness. Understanding that what you are is a point of awareness within the world. The power of awareness itself is the power of what you could call God within you, your own being. Your own actual nature is God. So it is already here, but obscured by us wanting to judge and fight circumstances as they are. So if you accept circumstances the way they are, we might be worried that in accepting them the way they are, it might mean we won't achieve anything better or greater. It allows for an attitude of well-being in reality if we do this. You don't have to worry about it keeping you stuck if you accept things the way they are. Because by doing that, you're allowing yourself to experience well-being and happiness. You're allowing it to arise wherever you are. So ultimately, it does in fact help improve your life. If you could just sense your own awareness of being, you realize that in becoming aware of your own awareness, you find the fulfillment of all that you've ever been seeking. You find the joy, bliss, happiness, love, well-being that you were seeking outside of yourself, that you were trying to fulfill through physical activities alone. But yet it is your own awareness of being that will allow you to experience who you really are, what you really are, and what your connection, what your actual unity is with the universe itself at large. So can you accept circumstances the way they are? Because by doing so, you learn to be calm in spirit. And by becoming calm in spirit, you will automatically make space for the true nature of your being to come through, to shine through, to rise up from within you, so to speak. Because your mind is no longer occupied with fighting how things are. Again, it's so subtle, but yet so powerful if understood. I hope you can find that strength for yourself to accept things the way they are. Because in that act, you will find joy. You will find bliss and happiness, I can tell you that much. And then as you keep it alive within yourself, it's almost like a painter. It's gonna color your way of thinking. It's gonna color how you feel about yourself and the world. And ultimately it's gonna be able to shine through you into the world, helping you to lift up the world itself into a better direction. But for now, it doesn't have to instantly go there. You don't have to worry about anything. Our job is to simply become aware of who we really are, of discovering the nature of our own awareness, and understanding that we were never any of the labels that we've put on ourselves. And in that, you find joy and happiness. In that acceptance of how things are, you make space to discover who the one is that is able to accept how things are.